that sound good to you to begin? Okay.
Yes, it does.
All righty. On behalf of the Cambridge Area Chamber of Commerce, Quanix Builders Corporation, and Zane State College, we are pleased to welcome you to the very first 2019-2020 Youth Leadership Guernsey virtual graduation ceremony. Yay! Yay! I am Stephanie Lasigo, the administrator of Leadership Guernsey. Although we are not in the same room, youth, please know the pride of the Chamber of Commerce, your families and honored guests are just as proud of you and what you have achieved. The youth has learned over the past 2 months what they can accomplish no matter how old they are. Please bear with me as I have a list of thank yous. To the participants, thank you. I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry. Okay, wait, hang on, okay. Sorry. From day one, you were respectful, curious, honest, intelligent, positive, confident, and friendly to the speakers, during the tours, through all the activities, and most importantly, to each other. You deserve a round of applause. Now, thank you to the families, principals, counselors, and superintendents for selecting and supporting the youth participants during the Youth Leadership Guernsey program. Please join me. Please allow me to thank and introduce Joe Sexton, the interim president of the Cambridge Area Chamber of Commerce, who provided guidance, high standards, communication, creativity, and leadership to the program and to me, and has done so for over the past 10 years.
Thank you.
Joe, would you like to say a few words?
Just a couple, because I think it's more important to get on to the rest of the ceremony. But Stephanie says interim president because I did retire in November, but the person who took my place resigned after several months, so I'm back just filling in until the end of May. But Leadership Guernsey will continue during these strange times, and it will continue virtually. We're working on that now. Stephanie is stepping down from the administration position with Leadership Guernsey, and Jennifer Vincent, who I think is still on, there she is. Jennifer Vincent will be taking over for the next set of classes, both the adult and the youth. And so we're so thankful. Jennifer is in the adult class currently that will graduate in June. So she'll be hot and ready to hit the ground running, and Stephanie and I are going to spend a lot of time with her just helping her get up to speed on that. The tagline for the Chamber of Commerce is Vision, Leadership, and Legacy, like I mentioned earlier, and this program demonstrates and delivers that information and that skill set for vision, leadership, and legacy. And I don't want to take any more time, Stephanie. There's more important things to go on right now. So thanks to everybody for coming. All of your participation makes this possible, every single one of you on this Zoom call. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. So is Heather still, is she still away? I don't see Heather. Okay. Well, I want to, regardless of whether she's here or not, I'd like to also thank, and we're not going to be able to introduce her, but the Youth Leadership Guernsey's generous financial sponsor is Quanix Building Corporation, and Heather Cruz is joining us. She stepped away for a moment, but she'll actually be part of our ceremony today. So it was very nice to have her. So thank you to Quanix. Very, very generous. Very generous. All right. So speaking of extraordinary leadership, our commencement speaker today is none other than Dr. Michael Sarap. He has asked me to cut his intro down to a paragraph. I tried. Doctor, I wasn't very successful. I tried though. Let me just say before I begin reading this, how fortunate we are to have such an accomplished and humble doctor in our area. Dr. Michael Sarap was born in Steubenville, Ohio. He graduated from Steubenville High School as valedictorian and had the privilege of being the commencement speaker in 2014. Dr. Sarap graduated from Kenyon College. He obtained his medical degree at University of Cincinnati College of Medicine. He is a surgeon here in Cambridge and is affiliated with multiple hospitals in the area. He has more than 30 years experience as a surgeon. He is a fellow of the American College of Surgeons. Dr. Sarap is a member of over 10 associations. He has received over 19 awards, including the Cambridge Chamber's 2008 John Sidlow Standard of Excellence for Vision, Leadership, and Legacy Award. In May of 2018, he was a Royal Australasian College of Surgeons Distinguished Invited Lecturer. He has been published over 20 times. He has spoken over 50 times all over the country. Dr. Sarap resides in Cambridge with his wife, Cindy. They have two grown children, Andrea and Michael. Please help me welcome our commencement speaker, Dr. Michael Sarap. And would you please mute yourself at this time? I'm going to try.
Are the slides up, Steph? Yeah. So thank you all very much. Congratulations on being part of this group. Somebody saw some potential in every single one of you to offer you up to this leadership group. And it's been a very interesting year for everybody. Being in the medical field, it certainly has been a very most unusual year. I change this talk a little bit every year, depending on what I hear, what I read. This was the most I've changed it for quite a while. So we'll dive into the leadership thing. I looked at a definition and it's not very helpful. It says a leader is one who leads, somebody that directs military force or a unit or has commanding authority or influence, or a person chosen by a group to manage those group affairs. I think it has been an incredible time in the last 2 months for you all in a leadership group to be able to see close up who is a leader and who isn't, despite whether they're in a leadership position. We see every single day national and regional and state leaders right on TV in front of us. And so I'd like you to kind of think about what you've seen in the last 8 weeks from our leaders and think about it in terms of what very, very smart people have thought about in terms of what makes a really good leader. Everybody thinks they have a pretty good idea about that. 1,500 books with the title leadership in it were published in 2015. And after this is over, there will be many, many more in terms of leadership and how it all went down. So there's some pretty classic leaders during times of crisis. Normally our leadership talks, we don't have a pandemic, a worldwide crisis. But if you look back, there's some specific leaders, Washington during the Revolution and Lincoln, Civil War, and Churchill and Roosevelt with World War II, Kennedy with the Cuban Missile Crisis. Many of you don't study that part of history, but there could have been a nuclear war very easily. And then Bush with 9/11. So we have a new bunch of figures that I put up there that we see every single day on the news. We see the president. We see the governor and Amy Acton. We see Governor Cuomo, who his press conferences are covered nationally. And obviously everybody knows Dr. Fauci. Now maybe Amy Acton and Fauci are not leaders, but they are advisors to the leaders. And in their words, in their actions, in their behaviors, they are in fact thought leaders. So again, going forward, just kind of think about these players as we talk about what makes a leader, what are those really good values. Through this short, hopefully short talk, I'm going to actually draw upon some opinions from all these groups of individuals, corporate, military leaders, psychologists, millionaires, even Buddhist monks, and Navy SEALs in terms of what are these common themes. And I think you will hear every different group that I'm going to discuss, or every different book that I'm going to discuss, these common things intertwine in terms of really who makes a good leader, no matter where it comes from. It could be from the Far East, come from ancient Greece or Rome. So think about these common things. So hopefully many of you will recognize these are the very first American astronauts, the Mercury astronauts, and our own John Glenn is included in this group. And somebody wrote a book about them, and they called it The Right Stuff. That how did they have the right stuff to become astronauts? Well, leaders have to have the same kind of stuff. And I've kind of divided it up into people stuff, planning stuff, and professor stuff. People stuff is really, really important. You have to deal with people on a daily basis. So they asked people that are at the Army War College, who do you want to be in a foxhole with? Who do you think would be best leader? And what are their characteristics? And so this is the list. And again, these lists are going to be very similar no matter what kind of profession it comes from. They keep cool. They're very clear communicators. They explain their missions, their standards, their priorities. They're able to step back and see the big picture. They make good, tough, sound decisions on time with the information that they have. Interpersonal skills, I cannot tell you how important those are to be a leader or just to be a regular human being. Quickly adapting, giving feedback to those around them. And then a leader is always positive, encouraging. Even though things are falling apart around you, you have to look for the bright light in terms of that. Maxwell is a leadership guru from the business world, and he actually alphabetized these kinds of things, and very similar ones are the same. They have to be charismatic. They have to have a strong character. You have to be able to trust them. If they say something, you have to believe them that they're gonna carry through. Self-discipline is very important. Always having a positive attitude, being generous, and being humble really is on the top of the list. So there's this whole realistic optimism thing. It's just seeing the world as it is, even though it's falling apart around us, which it seems like it's been in the last 8 weeks, and still looking and working towards a positive outcome or a solution. It's called realistic optimism. Many, many people that are successful. In fact, I don't think you can be successful without this trait in terms of being able to look for the good during bad times. Jim Collins, and if you don't remember any other book for today in terms of leadership, Jim Collins looked at corporations over a 100-year period. And he tried to find those corporations that were very successful over a period of 8 to 10 years, top of their line, good financial basis. But he also looked at the corporations that were on the top of the rung over 30 years or 40 years. And he tried to figure out why these companies are better than everybody else. And the only common factor was the people that were leading them. And he has this hierarchy or structure in terms of what kind of leaders are at these various corporations, and how does a corporation get from good to great. And he calls the top rung as level 5 leaders. They have this really unique blend of personal humility and professional will, and we'll kind of go into that. They're more plow horse than show horse, meaning that they don't boast. They're out there working every day. They're pushing everybody forward, and their ambition is for the group. It's for building people around them. They're not in it for themselves. So they're willing to share hard truths without losing this optimism. Again, realistic optimism from the business world. They act the very same, whether they're on stage giving a speech or whether they're in a room with you one-on-one. There's no acting involved. They're genuine people. And they have this unwavering belief in the message, the mission, the task, or the goal. And so this is the hierarchy. You can have capable individuals, and you can have team members that work great and contribute. You can have a competent manager that gets things done. He's not super great. He meets his quotas. And then most corporations are led actually by an effective leader. They have a commitment. They pursue these clear goals and visions. But this level 5 executive, they build enduring greatness. This greatness lasts over decades. And this very paradoxical blend, they call it humility. They're not boastful, and this professional will. This professional will, again, they're a very clear catalyst. They're in charge. And they push to get things done. They will do whatever needs to be done. And they have this concept of team building. It's not about them ever. But when things go bad, they look in the mirror, as Collins writes about it. They don't blame others. They don't say it's bad luck. They look in the mirror and say, I'm the leader, and I'm the reason that this has gone south. This hasn't worked very well. Very, very enduring quality. And then this personal humility is they're very modest. They don't like attention. They're never boastful. They're very calm, quiet, very competent, and they maintain these absolute high character standards, and it's kind of an amazing humility there. All their work channels into the team. They want the team and the people around them to get better. And when that happens, and when people are successful, what do? They don't look in the mirror anymore. They look out the window and they say, we're successful because of our team, because of our employees, external factors. And some people say, geez, I'm successful because I've had good luck. They absolutely refuse to say, well, I'm the best person in the world, and that's why things are working out. So Franklin Covey also talks about the fact that leadership is a choice. You have a foundation of character from the inside, but the most powerful leaders unleash the collective talents and the passion of the people around them. They build teams. And Quincy Adams said the same thing. If you inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, you're truly a leader. It's all about the people around you. So what if you don't care about this touchy-feely stuff? What if you don't want to be a team when you grow up? You just want to be a millionaire. You want to make money. You're going to get a job. Well, let's talk about how people are really successful with that. There's an author that interviewed 733 millionaires. You can see the breakdown. Most had a college degree. They weren't the smartest people in the world. There's your SAT scores. A lot of them were in business, entrepreneurs, some attorneys, some physicians. So these guys, I put these up just for examples, but they're not millionaires, they're billionaires, certainly. I'm not sure if anybody of these was interviewed for this book, but you see the heads of Apple and Microsoft. Warren Buffett has made jillions in the stock market, and obviously Elon Musk has some real talents and is very wealthy. When they talk about all these millionaires, and they gave them a survey, and they sat down and talked to them, and they asked them, what exactly are the factors that made you successful? And it's kind of surprising. These are listed in order. And number one on the list is integrity, being honest, having an incredibly solid character that people are going to believe you when you say something, when you shake their hand, you know they mean it. They're very disciplined. Self-control is really important. And we're going to develop that in just a minute. They get along with other people. It's just interactive skills, the supportive spouse, hard work, and then luck was kind of low down on the list, number 27. You don't get millionaire if you're just lucky unless you win the lottery. So part of this interactive ability to be able to get along with people is something called emotional intelligence that Dan Goleman wrote a book about several years ago. It's this combination of psychologic, interpersonal, and management skills. And what we found through many studies is, in terms of leadership and success and advancement in life, this emotional intelligence is much more important than IQ or your technical skills. So this is the book that Dan wrote. If you're interested in that. There are 4 components to this. Part one of it is personal, and some is social competence once you get around other people. But there's the self-awareness, be able to manage yourself, figure out social awareness, what you say affects other people, and being able to read their emotions, and then how do you manage relationships. So self-awareness is understanding yourself, looking inward and saying, well, why do I feel mad when this fellow told me this? Or how are my emotions at this very moment? And then the next level, and it's higher and higher, like going to be a Buddhist monk and getting more and more skills, it's being able to manage those emotions once you start to understand them, to control yourself, to think with a little voice in your mind that says, before I yell back, why am I angry and what is the other person really saying? And then the next level is, well, how exactly are my behaviors, my actions, and my words affecting other people? And can I read their emotions across the table by looking at them, looking at their behavior, their body language? That's social awareness. And then lastly, is this level 5 leadership business, to be able to inspire others with this compelling vision and help them develop by offering feedback and guidance. So planning stuff's important. This is taken from the medical field, is that physicians are very, very hard to change. We all think we're the best in the world and we do things the right way. And so to change behaviors, change the way we do things, you have to identify champions. those champions, just like at the War College, just like Maxwell described those kinds of qualities. You have to be able to see the big picture, communication skills, focus on quality, high quality. That's character. That's you do the right thing for the right person, interpersonal skills, conflict resolution, and commitment to learning, never stopping learning. So we are dependent upon each other in every endeavor in our life. Even if you don't want to be part of a team, you have to be. It's every job has a team. And so those true leaders, they instill in team members a sense that every individual plays a vital role. Even if you're the big boss, even if you can tell people every day, you do this, I don't want to hear any back talk, truly you're dependent upon those people around you. In my life, there's this great model that I've talked about many, many times, is the trauma model in terms of teamwork, emotional intelligence. You bring a 50-year-old person that's been in an auto accident, they're not breathing, they don't have any blood pressure. There are several things that need to be done in the first 2 minutes by several people. You see the picture, and there's all kinds of people, nurses, respiratory therapists, somebody has to draw blood, somebody has to start an IV, somebody has to put a breathing tube in. This is truly the team model. And as the surgeon, we're at the head of the table. And if you watch on TV sometimes, you see the fellow that's boasted, or the lady that are yelling out orders and criticizing people when they're too slow. And that may be on TV, but in my world, at a small community, when I may only have 4 nurses or 5 respiratory therapists or people, a certain amount of people that draw blood, if you embarrass them, if you don't help them to develop, the next time you really need them in that kind of a situation, you've lost them. And so that's where emotional intelligence comes in. You have to understand that you're in charge of that patient, but and it's the primary motive, is to get them to live and to survive. You're also in charge of this entire team. So the stakes go up if it's an 8-year-old girl that's got a gunshot wound through 5 organs. And so there's this very small team. We don't have 100 individuals around. So when she comes into the emergency room, it's the same kind of thing. The tensions are elevated. Nobody in that room wants to see this young lady die. And so everybody's nervous. And it's up to the team leader to care for everybody in that room, not just for the patient. So that's kind of my little world in terms of leadership. So there's a team that brought this young lady in. There's a second team in the emergency room to help us get her ready. And then the other picture was the team in the operating room. Teams are part of us. So if you don't want to read that big book about emotional intelligence, there's a short one by Bradbury, and actually a newsletter that you see up there. And he sends out these little newsletters that kind of gives you a little vignette about what true emotional intelligence means, and it's free. So you might look into that. The other thing about successful individuals, they must communicate effectively. No matter, every single day, you're going to have a conversation with somebody. We would hope that those will all be nice conversations, but many times they're not. They're called crucial conversations, and that means that there may be opposing opinions, there may be strong emotions involved, and very high stakes in terms of what you decide. And so this book, called Critical Conversations, is amazing. It goes through several scenarios, but the overriding theme is that they kind of tell you how to get into a conversation, expect things that are going to happen, that are going to make things not go the right way. And so the important thing is to listen to the other person in the room making those conversations. If it's a business negotiation, if you're there to correct an employee that's just not doing what they're supposed to be doing, you listen to them, you tell your story, you listen to their story. You try to recognize when people are silent, or if you recognize that people are fearing for their own safety in some of these heated conversations. And you would hope that the other individual in the room has those same skills to go and tell their own story, feel that story, and feel what the other person is saying and act on it, so that you can get to this, we call it a pool of shared meaning, and come to the best solution for that. And then lastly, professor stuff. And I'll show one slide on this, but everything seems to be more pertinent this year. So I've had this slide forever on here. It's from the Sherlock Holmes author, but he talks about it's a capital mistake to theorize before one has data. Because if you don't know the facts, if you don't know the data, you begin to twist the facts to suit your theory instead of formulating theories to suit facts. We've seen this every single day on the national news in terms of what can cure the coronavirus, what can't, and we're just in an area that's very unsettling. So what I'd like to leave you with is that there's this whole person concept about being a human being, a successful human being. And that wraps up in your intelligence, your emotional intelligence, and your personality. And you can go through an actual checklist to look at this. I mean, it's objective. It's not touchy-feely. You can go and look at yourself, look at your life, and reassess yourself in terms of your body, your mind, your heart, and your spirit. And if there's one book that explains this better than anybody, and it's probably one of my favorite books, it's called Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl was a Jewish psychiatrist that was put in the prison camp. Every single member of his family was murdered, including his pregnant wife. He slept in bunks next to people that were dying every day and starving and had lice, and they were beaten, and they had sent him out for very hard work with nothing to eat. Yet he survives, and he survives and formulates an opinion about the way you should live your life. He actually, in this absolute gutter, was able to find the high points of life to get him through this situation. And what he came up with is this theory. He said it's not, people go all over the world, pay a lot of money, go see yogis and go to different countries and meditate. They're looking for the meaning of life. And Viktor Frankl says it's absolutely not about that. It's about making life meaningful every single day. You accomplish this by caring for others and committing to worthy deeds, causes, and experiences. Pretty simple. Two simple lines. And living a meaningful life is the true key to happiness in life. You can't run after happiness. You can't buy it. You can only buy so much jewelry and cars and computers. It can't be pursued. It must ensue from living this life where you care for others. Kind of an amazing thing. So if you develop this whole mind body thing, if you don't live or if you're not healthy, you can't go on to evaluate your mind, your heart, your spirit. So that means discipline. You have to be disciplined about your diet, staying away from drugs, stay away from alcohol. Basically, it means to live. The second thing is your mind to live. You have to have this vision of where you want to go, what you want to learn in your life, and what kind of a person you want to be. And then it moves on to heart, or the emotional, social part of that, about loving. And that's passion. You have to have passion in your life for the people around you, people you work with, the things that you do on a daily basis. And then the people that have really gotten there, take time every once in a while to think about the spiritual. And that can be religious. It could be you take after the Stoic philosophers of Rome and Greece, but basically it's your conscience, your spirit. And it talks about leaving a better life for a world for others and to being part of something bigger than ourselves. Again, it's that leadership thing where everybody around you is part of your organization, and you're bigger than yourself. So I've used this slide for a whole bunch. Collins has it in Good to Great. It talks about that sweet spot, about the middle spot where doing something you're very passionate about that you love, what you can be very good at, maybe the best in the world, and then you can even get a little money for it. You can drive your economic engine, or a company that can make money off of this. Well, last year I came across really kind of a cool concept that you add one more thing. The Japanese have this concept of ikigai that actually means in Japanese the value of life, or the other thing that they say that it means is, why do I get up in the morning? Why do I wake up, get out of bed, and go do my life? And so they said passion, what you love to, what you're very good at, what you can be paid for, but also what the world needs. If you're doing something, filling a need in your community or the world, it makes you that much more to value life. I want to make very clear that what you get paid for is not all money. I mean, if you're retired and suddenly you care for your grandkids, you're getting rewarded in love, hugs, and kisses. That's a reward. That's being paid for that. I think this is a tremendous. The Japanese have these single words, these very complex theories, and I ran into this, and I just love the concept of ikigai. So I went and said, geez, in this time of COVID, how do we prepare for this? How do we do leadership in a time of crisis? And who does this on a daily basis? Well, Navy SEALs do. They go off on these missions, totally they practice and practice. There's no way they can predict what they're going to run into. And so they work in this VUCA environment, VUCA, and it stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And this really sums up what we felt in the last 8 weeks across the world. Every single day, we change our behaviors, change what we're doing in the hospital, change how we treat patients because of new data that's flowing. And so, what are the SEAL principles? How do they deal with this? And I think that you'll see in many of these are the same things from the business world, the medical world. They establish your set point, and that's your character. Well, what is your purpose? What are you unwilling to do to cross over your character? They prepare their mind, they envision their goal, and they bulletproof their mission. They continue to look for the targets that will advance their mission. The interesting thing is that they talk about all the time, they embrace the suck. And I think I heard a lot of the students talking about that it sucks lately. Everybody's locked in. You don't have your friends. You don't have your athletics. And so it's really been pretty sucky over the last 8 weeks. The SEALs expect that. They look forward to it. They have this hell week that they don't sleep for an entire week. The ones that do it and embrace it, they embrace the suck. They understand that it's horrible, but they're very similar to the doctor in the prison camp. They look for the bright spots. This is going to make me so tough when we're done with it. They build discipline, drive, and determination. So embrace the suck. Many of you already done that in the last few weeks. They're very mentally tough. Again, emotional resilience talks about emotional intelligence. When they fail, they have this concept that they fail forward. Even if they fall down, they fall forward and continue to move towards the goal. Kind of an amazing concept. Build your intuition, and they're very much on the offense at all times. Never draw back, never be defensive, always move towards your goal. And then the other place I looked are the Stoic philosophy. There are Greeks and Roman philosophers that are still talked about today. An incredible number of successful individuals in the world are really followers of the Stoic philosophy. It's from ancient Greece and Rome. And so I found this one thing is that we only can concern ourselves about internal things. That's the only thing that we can control, particularly in these last 8 weeks. Those things that we are totally in control of are character, our choices, and our actions and behaviors. And many of the students really picked up on that a whole lot in their descriptions of that. Everything else in the world is external and not under our control. And therefore, it's not worth wasting time and energy worrying about these things out of our control. We just worry about what's internal and everything will work out. The Stoics say that an obstacle put on our way is actually the way. Our actions may be impeded, but there's no impeding our intentions, our dispositions, because we can accommodate and adapt. That's what human beings do. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes. The obstacle to our actions. The impediments to action advances action. It sounds kind of crazy, but what stands in your way becomes your way. You change how you do things. You change your perspective on things. You change your actions, but nobody can stop you doing what you do. And this came from Marcus Aurelius, probably one of the best Roman emperors and generals of all time. So my last parting thought is that time is a pretty important concept, and we've had time to talk and think, and I hope that some of you have picked up some good books. I know that you were talking about games and talking to your friends. Personally, I've read 5 books in these last 6 weeks that have been very enlightening to me, but time's always moving minute by minute, second by second, and our lives move that way too. Nobody can stop this. And the same time, it's the same for all of us. Interesting, you can be rich or poor, or high status or low status. There's a certain equality about the life, the time that we have in life, and nobody can change that, no matter who you are. But there's one thing that is in our hands, and it's about whether we waste the time that we have, whether we use it in a negative or constructive fashion. And the difference in we do with that time, a lot, it lies in the state of our mind and our motivation. And that comes from the Dalai Lama. It's interesting. This is an old slide that I've used, but he's bending and with his hands clasped together. And the word for that is namaste. And how interesting now that we aren't going to shake hands probably forever in our lives. But I think this is they basically are bowing to your existence is the meaning of namaste, and you don't have to exchange bugs with them. So interesting. The concept of everything has changed in the last several weeks. So it's been a great honor to come and talk to you, to see you in a sense. And I wish you all the best in your personal leadership journey. And again, I thank you so much for allowing me the few minutes to talk to you during your graduation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sarap. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to try to get this off, Stephanie.
Well, I have my tech guy upstairs.
Yeah,
so.
can he erase me?
Let me see. I think he's watching. Let's see. He may be working as we're talking.
There we go.
There. Yeah, he's watching. Thank you, Dr. Sarap. Another round of applause for Dr. Sarap, please.
I would say get off mute and give him a round of applause.
Yeah, go off mute. Yes.
Yay!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So is Heather with us now? Did Heather Cruz, did she join us? Okay, Joe.
Yeah, they had a fire alarm.
Oh, Heather, hi. Are you ready?
Yeah, we got back in the building.
Yay!
Oh goodness, you had to evacuate. Well,
Yeah.
okay, I have my script. At this point, Heather Cruz from Quanex will read the names of the participants. Youth, as she calls your name, please open your envelope and you know what's in there. Okay, Heather.
Okay, so first up is Elena Bell.
Congratulations, Elena.
Yay, Elena.
Yay. Unmute yourself, I think. Just unmute yourself.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. We're almost finished. Almost.
There she is. Okay. All right, up next, Jaden Carpenter.
Yay!
Okay.
Congratulations.
Dominic Cork. Dominic.
Where's Dominic? There he is.
There he is.
Yay! Congratulations. I love the idea of you showing your certificate. Very nice. Good idea.
Zane Cunningham.
Yay!
Yay! Carly's not here.
Not here. Okay. So Luke Dunlap.
Yay!
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Rhett is not here.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Okay.
And Wesley Ellsworth.
Yay!
Yay! Congratulations.
Thomas McCullough.
Where's Thomas?
He's got, he just held up his badge.
Where is he?
Hold up one more time. There you go.
Oh, okay. He's in his car.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He's tough. He's tough.
Marcus Masters. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Corinne Neptune.
Yay.
Zach Ogle.
Yay!
Yay. Good job.
Alex Patterson.
Yay!
Sean Perkins.
Yay, Sean.
Sean, good job.
Connor Puskarich. Did I get that right? Feels right.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Close enough.
All right.
Congratulations.
Avery Roof.
Where's Avery?
Where's Avery?
There she is.
Where is she?
You. And then Kirsten Stinson.
Yay!
Hey, Kristen.
Up next, Emma Stratton.
Where is she?
There she is. She's got it up. Alexandria Woodard.
Yay, Allie.
And Braden Young.
Hey, Greg.
Yay! Congratulations! Congratulations, everybody! You did it. So Mayor Orr was unable to. Thank you, Heather. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Quanex. So Mayor Orr was unable to attend. He had two department head meetings. But this is his message. Congratulations on your big day. You did it. Know without a doubt that you were made for great things. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Orr. Okay, we are almost finished. Almost. Hold on. Today's graduation ceremony is not only the very first virtual graduation leadership Guernsey graduation ceremony, but I also have the privilege and honor today to award a youth participant a very first of its kind leadership award. Here's the backstory. Last November, when Joe Sexton retired, I researched and thought how I could possibly thank someone who has contributed so much to Guernsey County, the Cambridge Area Chamber of Commerce, and the leadership program. I found it. Let me find it. Here it is. An award named after her. So that's how. So what I did is I asked the youth to nominate one fellow participant who they thought demonstrated outstanding communication. Can you see that? Character, creativity, and commitment, that's Joe's philosophy about leadership. And that's what she just drilled into me while I worked for her. I learned so much from working with her. So the votes are in. And the very first Joe Sexton Leadership Award goes to Youth Leadership Guernsey participant Marcus Masters.
Wow, Marcus.
Thank you.
And so Marcus, congratulations.
Thank you.
Marcus, as soon as the area deems engravers essential, I will get your name engraved and I will send it to you. Congratulations.
Stephanie, can I say
Welcome. Okay, on behalf of the Area Chamber of Commerce, Quanex Builders Corporation, and Zane State College, we want to thank everyone for attending. Youth, stay curious, keep believing in yourself, and it was my privilege to work with you. Congratulations.
Stephanie?
Yes, honey.
First of all, congratulations, Marcus. I'm so proud of you. But so
Thank you.
what do you think? What do you think made you get that award? Get off mute.
I would say, personally, with stuff that was always going on, like I just wanted to get people involved. I never cared if I was going to be the first one to do it or not. If there was an activity going on, I just wanted it to get going. I didn't want people to be afraid, because as soon as I got there, the atmosphere that was created was very welcoming, very inviting. So I felt like I was safe to do whatever I felt was the proper response and get people involved, so other people followed. So it was really a whole team effort, I think.
Congratulations.
Thank
That makes me think of that saying that it's amazing what can get done if you're not worried about who gets the credit.
you. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
Stephanie, I'd like you to show your flowers. We sent some flowers to Stephanie.
They're beautiful. Thank you so much again. They're
Yeah.
so pretty.
Stephanie has done an unbelievable job for the last couple of years in Leadership Guernsey and
Thank you.
raised it up to such a great level, and we appreciate it so much. I'm sure the students and their guests would like to give you a round of applause. If everybody could get off of mute so she can hear all the applause. Thank you, Stephanie, so much.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. I learned so much being the head of this program. I learned so much.
And thanks, Quanex. They always support the youth program and make it possible for us to do that. So Heather, thank you very much, and pass that on to Jeff and everyone else. And all the parents and all the supporters, it's your help that helps the students succeed at this. So we appreciate the administration at the school districts and all the parents and supporters of the kids. Thank you so much for supporting the participants in youth leadership. And we have presenters. Don't we have some people who presented? I think I saw Norm earlier. Maybe he had to get off. Debbie's on there. So
Okay.
there's a lot of people on this call who actually were participants in presenting. So thank you too.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Well, Joe, how does it feel to have an award named after you?
It feels pretty wonderful, and I'm very honored, and I just can't wait to see who's going to get the adult one, and then I'll be following it for years to come. And
Well.
just so you know, we're going to take the Navy SEAL principles and we're going to embrace the suck, and we're going to continue this program and alter it no matter how we have to. Jennifer Vincent is very willing and looking forward to the challenge of figuring out how we keep this going during the Corona shutdown. So we'll keep it going. We're going to embrace the suck.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming and, well, you know, for attending. And it's my pleasure. And I'll miss the youth. I will miss them big time. But I know that they're going to go on and do great things. It was amazing to meet such mature young people. It was amazing. Anyway, thank you so much, and you guys have a great afternoon, and thank you for everything. Thank you. So bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.